The homeless are everybody from engineers to the drunk on the street that's fallen and doesn't recover. That's who they are. It can happen in an instant. A loss of a father and the household breadwinner, the whole family. That's who the homeless are. They're one paycheck away. Everybody, the majority, is one paycheck away from being homeless.
After losing my job, I could only live on my savings for so long before I lost my apartment. I would say it was one of my biggest fears in life, was to become homeless.
And before we actually moved in, the first homeless person came and spent the night there, and I stayed with him to take him to SCAD, the detox center, the next morning. So just the first people we met were homeless people.
I was in a car. I had to bundle up. I was so cold. I could have died from being frozen to death, or I could have died from asphyxiation, because we kept the car running for a couple hours, turned it up till it got hot enough in there, and then a couple hours later somebody would wake up and turn the car on again.
I was at church one Sunday, and they asked for volunteers to help at the temporary emergency homeless shelter. I went to a meeting, and that's where I first met Father Russ Carmichael and Father Emmett Jarrett. And I still remember that first night I walked in and I was completely stunned at what I saw. I knew the people in there, guys I had played softball with, people I knew around town. My next amazement was that people got up. A lot of people worked. They just didn't make enough to be able to afford apartments. So, I just got the message through doing that I wanted to help.
Geez, we get every kind of person, all different kind of people, all fields, all ages, females, males. We've had blind people here. Every night's a new surprise.
Because of what we were doing on the street, we had homeless people demonstrating, maybe a dozen that brought together that I had met in the park that wanted to do stuff.
There are more homeless people now than there were 7 years ago. There are more homeless people now than there were 1 year ago because of the number of people that we're seeing in the shelter. We know that. The other is that city services have been eliminated. In June of last year, June of 2005, the city's budget cut social services out of the budget. So the change has been, there is no more city involvement except as resistance. And it's all having to be done by volunteers, by people who raise their own money, and by people who work directly with homeless people.
I see people sleeping in tents. That's not right. It's too cold for them. I've had a few friends that died in the cold. Older guys, older than me.
Well, a lot of these people definitely do not have, degrees. Many don't have high school degrees at all, and so their skill sets are very low. And it used to be that you could make your living with your back, but not today. Pretty much those jobs are minimum wage, and you can't get far.
And when it's cold and snowing and raining, they're outside, so it would really be nice if they could come up with more of a permanent solution for the homeless population in New London, because it's very large, it's quite a bit of people.
Some people would freeze to death, some people would get sick and die. People's medical care is handled by the emergency room at L&M Hospital. It's a very expensive way to take care of medical care, but that's the only thing that's available for them. People they wouldn't leave. There's no place else to go. So people would die. That's what would happen.
So they were demonstrating that they wanted a shelter opened up earlier, it was cold, and everything else like that. And out of that, came a development of an organization that they put together, and they got political. The more and more people joined us, and then through other individuals who came to support us, like Father Emmett, John Russell, who did fundraising for us. We had all our own funds up until his help, and various people who joined that were not homeless suggested the formal organization.
I was working pretty closely with Father Russ and Father Emmett. And we decided that we needed to start a 501c3 nonprofit corporation to better serve the people we work with. So we had we assembled a number of people who were interested in this same movement, and out of that came what's called the New London Grassroots Homeless Coalition. People were elected. Father Russ was elected president, Father Emmett was elected vice president secretary, and I was elected treasurer.
Well, things are getting better locally because there are a lot of people. Russ Carmichael is one. A lot of people in the churches, a lot of people in the social service agencies, the private agencies, TVCCA, the Alliance for Living, Mike Rosenkrantz, people like that, people at Sound Community Services, Stephanie Guess. All these people are doing a lot. And there are people in the city government who are aware of the needs.
They got no money. Everybody's asking what the question is. You got no money, you can't afford a cave. That's the bottom line. So more funding for supportive housing and money. You do that, and that is very creative. That helps everything else in the condition of the person.
The second night I was working in the homeless shelter, I was just hit with an idea that I could help these people a lot more by raising money for them. Dave Shagru from Boston Concessions at Ocean Beach donated the Port and Starboard room. I got a band. I had all kinds of people signing up to help me. We had sponsors. We had people giving us auction items and raffle items and things like that. And we ended up putting on a really nice function on April 1st last year, which drew 400 people, and we raised $10,000.
And this is the basis of Christian work anyways. Feeding the poor, healing the sick is the center of what a Christian is supposed to be about. And they responded.
What we want to do is to help people feed, clothe, and shelter themselves as God intended. We don't want to be part of a Lady Bountiful providing services for people. We want to help people help themselves. And basically, if people are able to help themselves, their own self-respect grows, their own ability to help themselves and to help others grow. And one of the real big focuses of the Homeless Coalition is giving back. If you have been helped, if you have been served, then it's your responsibility to help other people, to serve other people in turn.
I want to be able to support myself, be able to, do all that, and, eventually be able to support my daughter and be able to do, financially do stuff for her.